The battlefield does not wait. Dawn erupts not with birdsong, but with the roar of armored engines and the hiss of drone propellers. Ukrainian Bradleys surge forward through mud, their tracks grinding like steel jaws. Above them, drones sweep low, cameras searching, warheads armed. There's no warning, no hesitation. War hits instantly, brutal, merciless, without space for the unprepared. A Russian outpost lies ahead, dug into shallow trenches and reinforced with sandbags. The soldiers inside never expected the storm that is now coming for them. The first sign is not the sound of engines, but the sudden crack of 25mm rounds tearing through the tree line. The Bradley's chain gun opens up, spitting fire and steel. Dirt erupts, splinters fly, and the calm of morning is shattered into chaos. At the same time, a Ukrainian reconnaissance drone drops low over the position, its electric motor nearly silent. Below, Russian soldiers scramble for cover, some grabbing rifles, others frozen in shock. A second later, the drone releases its payload, a grenade that arcs downward before detonating in the middle of the trench. The blast sends men sprawling, torn by shrapnel, screaming into the mud. The survivors have no time to recover. The Bradley is closing in. The infantry fighting vehicle fires again. Its gunner lays down suppressive fire with precision, targeting every muzzle flash, every shadow that moves. A Russian machine gun nest opens up in desperation, tracers snapping through the air, but the rounds bounce off the Bradley's armor with no effect. The vehicle pivots, stabilizers holding its gun steady even while moving at speed, and delivers a burst that rips the nest apart. Silence follows, broken only by the groan of collapsing sandbags and the drone of motors overhead. Behind the lead Bradley, Ukrainian infantry prepare to dismount. Inside, the soldiers grip their rifles tight, listening to the muffled thunder outside. The ramp drops. Boots hit the ground. They fan out, rifles raised, sweeping the flanks. The air smells of cordite and churned soil. Every movement is calculated, every gesture precise. They know a single mistake here can mean death. From the tree line, Russian fighters attempt to retreat, some climbing onto motorcycles to escape the tightening noose. But the drones are already hunting them. One FPV drone locks onto a rider, accelerates like a hawk diving for prey, and slams into the motorcycle. The explosion is brutal, metal, flesh, and earth thrown in every direction. Survivors stumble through smoke, blinded by fear, only to be cut down by bursts of fire from the advancing Bradley. The battlefield is no longer a line, it is a storm. The Ukrainians push forward with combined force, armored steel crushing defenses, drones raining death from above, infantry moving with lethal precision. The Russians are caught between the hammer and the anvil, trapped in trenches that have become coffins. Some fight, most run, none escape the storm. The first Russian reaction comes not from the trenches, but from above. A buzzing shape rises into the sky, an Orlan reconnaissance drone. Its task, spot the Bradleys, mark their coordinates, and call down artillery fire. The Ukrainians know it instantly. One of their FPV drones veers off and slams into the Orlan mid-air. The explosion is small, almost surgical, but enough to turn the enemy's eye blind. But the Russians are not blind for long. Within minutes, their artillery roars to life. From miles away, a battery of 122mm howitzers hurls shells into the battlefield. The first impact lands close, too close. A geyser of dirt and shrapnel engulfs a Ukrainian squad as they scramble into cover. One soldier is thrown backwards, helmet torn off, his rifle spinning into the mud. The others drag him into a ditch, adrenaline drowning out the sound of his screaming. The Bradleys respond immediately. Their gunners fire smoke grenades, masking movement as the vehicles shift position. A tactic drilled into every crew: never stay in one place longer than 30 seconds. The Russian gunners adjust, but the Ukrainians are already gone, moving fast, weaving through tree lines and ruined houses. From the tree line, Russian infantry unleash RPG fire. Trails of smoke streak across the battlefield, targeting the lead Bradley. The warhead slams into its side armor with a thunderous crack, but the vehicle holds. The armor is scarred, blackened, but not pierced. The Bradley pivots instantly, its turret snapping toward the firing point. A short burst from its 25mm cannon turns the RPG crew into silence. Ukrainian drone operators seize the chaos. From a nearby barn, a small quadcopter arcs into the sky, diving straight into a Russian BTR parked on a road. The impact detonates inside the open troop hatch. Flames burst outward, consuming everything within seconds. The survivors scatter across the fields, only to be tracked and hunted by hovering FPV drones. Then the sky itself changes. Russian Su-25 ground attack aircraft dive low over the horizon, flares streaking behind them. Their unguided rockets scream toward the Ukrainian advance. Explosions roll across the ground, throwing shockwaves through the trenches. For a moment, the battlefield is nothing but fire, smoke, and deafening thunder. But the Ukrainians were waiting for this. A mobile SAM crew, hidden in woodland, powers up its radar. The operator tracks one of the Su-25s, waits for the lock, then releases. A single missile slices upward, faster than sound. The Russian pilot dumps more flares, banking hard, but the missile finds him. A fireball blossoms in the sky. The wreckage spirals down, burning until it slams into the fields below. Both sides escalate. Both sides bleed, and the storm is only beginning. The battlefield now trembles under two storms at once. Fire from the ground and fire from the sky. Russian artillery batteries increase their rate of fire, launching salvo after salvo of rockets from BM-21 Grad systems. Dozens of unguided projectiles scream overhead, their trails cutting through the sky before plunging into the Ukrainian lines. The ground erupts in waves of thunder. Trenches collapse, trees are shredded into splinters, and every soldier instinctively hugs the dirt, praying the next impact doesn't land on him. The Ukrainians counter with their own artillery. M777 howitzers, firing GPS-guided Excalibur rounds, answer the Russian barrage. Each shell is precise, each explosion targeting a known enemy battery. One by one, the Russian firing positions are bracketed, their coordinates passed by drones circling high above. An FPV drone streams live footage of a Grad launcher moments before a Ukrainian shell lands squarely on its crew. Fire engulfs the vehicle, secondary detonations ripping it apart. But Russia pushes harder. Su-25s return in pairs, hugging the ground so low they almost touch the treetops. Their wings spit unguided rockets, raking the battlefield in streaks of white smoke and flame. Ukrainian troops dive into trenches, the blasts sending waves of shrapnel overhead. It is chaos, deafening, blinding, suffocating. Then Ukrainian air defense crews make their move. Hidden beneath camouflage netting, a buck launcher locks onto the second Su-25. A missile screams skyward, leaving a white trail. The Russian pilot banks violently, flares pouring out behind him. But the missile adjusts, closing the gap. Seconds later, the aircraft bursts into a fireball. A parachute opens, drifting down slowly, while burning wreckage smashes into the ground. On the ground, the Bradleys push through the smoke. Their gunners keep firing, the 25mm cannons cutting through walls and defensive positions like paper. The vehicles split, advancing on different flanks to stretch Russian defenses thin. Infantry squads move alongside, firing short bursts into windows, throwing grenades into foxholes before storming forward. A Ukrainian drone dives onto a Russian self-propelled gun. The operator guides it straight into the ammunition rack. The explosion is catastrophic. An entire section of the front line shakes as burning metal and smoke rise into the sky. Russian artillery fire falters, its rhythm broken, its crews thrown into panic. For a moment, there is silence. Only the sound of engines, boots on soil, and the distant crackle of flames. Then, another barrage begins. Russian mortars, hidden further back, take up the fight. The Ukrainians know what is coming. The battle is about to move into the villages, into the ruins, into places where armor and artillery cannot dominate. Places where men fight face to face, with no room for retreat. The storm is far from over. It is only changing shape. The open fields are behind them now. Ahead lies a village. Ruined houses, collapsed roofs, shattered glass glinting in the pale light. This is where the fight changes. The Bradley can dominate open ground, but in the narrow streets, in the twisted alleys, the battle is decided by men with rifles, grenades, and the will to move forward one room at a time. The lead Bradley halts at the edge of the settlement. Its gunner opens fire, shredding the facade of the first house suspected of hiding Russian troops. Windows explode outward in showers of dust and shards. Behind the armored bulk, Ukrainian infantry dismount, spreading quickly, rifles sweeping. They know every doorway could conceal an ambush. A drone buzzes low overhead. Its camera captures Russian soldiers moving between buildings, attempting to set up a defense. The feed streams directly into a tablet in a squad leader's hands. He points, gestures, and within seconds, the Bradley's turret pivots. A short burst tears through a wall, collapsing it onto the defenders inside. The survivors scatter, only to be chased down by another drone diving fast, its warhead detonating against a courtyard wall. The fight turns vicious. Every house becomes a battlefield, every street corner a trap. Ukrainians toss grenades into basements before entering. Smoke rolls through shattered windows as soldiers shout to one another, covering each other's movements. A single Russian machine gun, hidden deep inside a ruined shop, opens fire, cutting down 2 men in the open. Instantly, a drone operator adjusts his FPV, skimming low through the broken doorway. The detonation inside silences the gun, leaving only smoke and echoing fire cracks. Then comes the Russian counterattack. From the far side of the village, an armored personnel carrier crashes forward, disgorging troops who sprint into cover. They open fire with automatic rifles and RPGs, trying to pin the Ukrainians down. The Bradley responds, its 25mm cannon chewing through the APC's armor. The vehicle smokes, lurches, and stalls. Dismounted Russian troops scramble away, but Ukrainian infantry are already waiting, firing from upper windows, cutting off their escape. Mortar rounds begin to fall. The Russians are desperate, firing blindly into the village. Roofs collapse. Walls are torn apart. Clouds of dust and fire consume the streets. A Ukrainian squad is trapped in a house, their only exit blocked by debris. Overhead, their drone operators move fast, guiding a strike onto the mortar team hiding in the orchard beyond the village. The explosion is precise, wiping out the crew and silencing the bombardment. For a moment, the battle balances on a knife's edge. Both sides are bloodied, both sides desperate. The Russians still hold a cluster of buildings near the church in the center of the village. From there, their machine guns cover every approach, their RPG teams waiting for any Bradley foolish enough to push forward. It is a fortress, but only as long as they can remain supplied. The Ukrainians know this. Their drones fan out, searching for the weak link. It takes only minutes before they find it. A Russian resupply truck creeping down a dirt road at the rear. The FPV drone dives fast, smashing straight into the cab. The explosion is brutal. Flames erupt skyward, ammunition cooking off in violent bursts. With that single strike, the Russian garrison is cut off, their supplies gone, their chance of holding evaporating with the smoke. Inside the churchyard, panic spreads. Some Russian soldiers try to flee across open ground, only to be scythed down by the Bradley's gunner. Others hunker down, clinging to walls that are about to be torn apart. A Ukrainian squad makes the final push, advancing under covering fire. Grenades arc into windows. Doors are kicked open, rooms cleared in seconds. The fight is short, savage, final. When it ends, silence settles over the ruins, broken only by the crackle of fires and the hum of drones still circling above. The village is theirs, but the cost is written in blood and exhaustion. Ukrainian soldiers slump against walls, breathing hard, their uniforms blackened by smoke, their eyes hollow from what they've seen. Some sit in silence, staring at nothing, their rifles resting across their knees. The Bradleys stand guard at the edge of the ruins, scarred, dented, but still alive. The war does not stop for reflection, but the moment weighs heavy. They have driven the Russians out, taken ground, destroyed vehicles, silenced artillery. Yet victory here is not celebration. It is survival. The dead lie where they fell, on both sides, reminders that this battlefield offers no glory, only endurance. As the sun sinks low, drones still circle, scanning for any sign of counterattack. The Bradleys rumble back into position, covering the perimeter. And in the trenches, the soldiers prepare for what comes next. Because in modern war, there is no final battle, no lasting silence, only the knowledge that tomorrow the storm will return.